Hi friends, it's Becky, and the beads were good again this week. I'm sorry I didn't get to my live, or no, not live, I don't do these live, I record them. I'm sorry I didn't get to my wrap up last night. I was busy playing video games and baking with my son. Sometimes he just is like, Mom, I want to hang out with you, and sometimes he has trouble like being out amongst people, and so when he actually asks, it's always going to be a yes from me to spend time with my kid. So I mean, he is an adult, he lives at home, but he just, he wanted to bake some stuff, and then we played some video games together, and it was a really good time. So I'm catching up now. We'll get there eventually, we always do. But I spent a lot of this week doing on-the-fly designs. I did one single one that was a planned design. Hoping to get more planned designs out this week, so we'll see if that happens. I did actually have something that was supposed to come in the mail that I could start working on over the weekend, because it's going to be kind of a longer design. But for some reason, my post office was like, it was out for delivery on Saturday, and then they were like, oh no, delivery attempted, which didn't make sense to me. And then they said it changed from a status to delivery held at post office at customer request. And I was like, what customer requested that? Because it wasn't me, so I put in a request. Sometimes what happens is, if there's like the post office, like the postal box, if it's like damaged, they might be like, okay, we're gonna hold your mail until it gets fixed, so to prevent stuff from getting, but I checked my post box, and it is not damaged. It is functioning just perfectly fine. So I don't know why they just were like, I don't feel like delivering, I'm gonna go put a lie into the system about this package or something. It's possible the package was damaged, and so they need me to go pick it up. I don't know. I haven't gone there, because by the time they returned, the post office had been closed, and I haven't gone there yet because it is a work day and I have been working. I'm doing this on my lunch break. So yeah. Anyway, let's go down to the mat. Let's see what I made, because a lot of these were on-the-fly designs that I am really happy with. Like, I'm just like, yay, they worked out. Sometimes they don't, but they did this week. They did. So I'm really happy with them, and I am happy to share them. So let's go take a look. All right, so here we are, all of the things that I made this week. Every single one of these was an on-the-fly design, except for this larvikite one, the larvikite pendant with the iolite chips, and then some check glass fire polish beads as accents. During my tutorial, I demonstrated how to make these simple loop links, and I showed both methods, both using the round nose pliers and using the one-step loopers. And then I also demonstrated how I do kind of a combination of both, and do the one-step looper for the first loop, and then I use my round nose pliers for the second loop. And then I demonstrated how to wire wrap this little pendant in order to get that. It's very similar to the pendant designs that I did during my live with Rachel from Sam's Bead Shop. And then I also demonstrated how to make these little links, just to have a closure. A little hook and eye for that. It was a fun project to do. I was really glad that I was able to plan it and execute it and have it all work out greatly. But everything else was seat of the pants designing for me. So this was my planned design, and everything else was design on the fly when I opened up my bargain bead box, which I was so pleased to get, and I am in love with the colors of. And I'm planning some projects that I can fill in some of the spots between opening. But my on-the-fly design for that was pulling out some of these beads, and especially these medallions. And then we did some wire wrapping with some fine gauge wire, made a little link, and I demonstrated how I make my ear wires as well, to make these really pretty and big and beautiful earrings. So we did that one. And then I also opened up my Potomac Beads Treasure Edition box, and that's this one right here. And I pulled out some of the beads from there. We have some of the tiny gemstone beads, some of these check like oval beads, and then some, what are they called? Just some of the seed beads that came with them in there that were strung along. And then around the focal area on the front of it, I grabbed those really giant, like 16 millimeter faceted beads, and then some of the daggers and these nuggets to kind of space out. It feels like the jungle to me, or, you know, a woodland sort of sunny woodland glade or something where you've got like the leaves and then like sunlight filtering through the trees. That's what that kind of vibe, that's what it gives me. And then there was the Gemstone Orphanage. They changed it from a subscription program to now it's a just a limited edition box that is released on a certain date and time, and then when they're gone, they're gone. They had 2 different price points. I unboxed it, went over all of the contents, and at the end of it, I made a little necklace using some wire from my stash, but then also just these really pretty light pink. You can't even see the color that great there. Let's get something a little bit wider behind it. These really light, delicate pink crystals, and I turned that into a beaded chain. I used these links that also have that really pretty light pink crystal in them, and then made a focal using this very light pink crystal pendant, and it's just a really simple but effective necklace, and I made that after my unboxing for that. I will, of course, be putting links to all of these tutorials, all of the things that I made in the description below. And since they were done during unboxings, I did put a timestamp in the description for each of these. So if you just want to watch the tutorial and skip past the unboxing, you can go down into the description for each of those videos and click that timestamp. It'll be a little link that's like, you know, the timestamp like 14:23 or something like that. I don't know the actual numbers. So if you want to skip any of the unboxings and get to just the makings, you can do that when you're watching those videos. I added that in the descriptions, which I know are difficult to get to if you're watching it on TV, but I can only do so much. Anyway, so there was that, and I know we had a little bit of a hug of death for the website there, but ultimately I think they did the best they could to keep it up as long as they could and make as much available as possible. There may have been some frustrations. It happens when you've got a very popular product and everybody's trying to purchase it at the same time. It can be really, really difficult to get through the scrum for that. And then I had my curated bead box, and when I opened that, I was faced with some very southwesterny kind of colors in there, and so I went ahead and used these fan pendants that were in there, some of these spacers, and then just some turquoise, and they're almost carnelian in color, these glass rounds. I kind of love that. And I just put them together to make these little dangly drop earrings. It was a really quick and really easy sort of thing to put together. And I used the findings in the box. I used the head pins that came with it, as well as the ear wires. So you can make these if you get the curated bead box, just with everything that comes in the box. You don't need to add anything from your stash for that. And then I got an extra bead mix from Soft Flex that was meant to go with the all the glitters bead kit, and so I grabbed my bead kit and the extra mix, and we did a design on the fly with this really cool crystal pendant And then this is all just beading wire. Like the whole pendant part was done with beading wire and some seed beads. And I really like adding the seed beads between these because it gives it more articulation and it kind of defines and highlights each of the individual beads a little bit better. And then we had these really cool dichromatic glass pieces that fit just about perfectly right here in these bead frames. And then I made a bracelet to go with it using that bead mix again. And some of these others, the snowflake ones, these came on the bead strand from Jesse James Beads. They were part of that situation. So I used those and made a little dangle on the end, and it is just a perfect little bracelet to go with it. It is so sparkly. I love it. And then I had a little bit of a hiccup when I was making the earrings for it because the second bead frame, one of the holes was blocked up. So I couldn't actually make my second earring on camera. I do have that bead frame. I have not yet attempted to clear it, so I don't have my second earring, but I can still wear this for you during the try on. Speaking of which, let's pop back up to Face Me and we will do that. All right, let's try these on. I am going to put on my one from Sam's Bead Box first. I know I made it after I did the earrings, but I really love it. So it goes there. It's a little bit longer than I normally do, but it still is a great length for me. It feels so nice to wear. You know, do you ever put on a necklace and you're like, calming vibes? Maybe that's like the whole like crystal, I don't know what crystals do what, but maybe that's what that is. Maybe this is a calming crystal for me. Maybe that's what that's going on about. Yeah, I don't know. I like that. I am probably gonna wear this for the rest of the day then, because that was really nice. But we'll try on the other stuff first. All right, let's put on these earrings. Ding ding ding. With it's mostly purple rather than pink with these, because I used the crystal rondelle mix and then some of the bicones, and these small crystals were pink plus copper, the ones that I wire wrapped around that. These are swingity and I love them. They're great. The sweater, by the way, that I'm wearing, it is a design by Amba O'Brien. It was for one of her Advent. She does things with for Advent calendar things where you get yarn advents. So each of it is like 20 grams of yarn per stripe. And I actually just used scraps from previous projects for this one. It's one that I made a couple of years ago and it's one of my favorites, which is why it's got pills and stuff on it because I haven't cleaned them off, but it's a very well-loved sweater. Just in case you were wondering what I am wearing. My favorite thing about it though are these buttons. They're just wood buttons with these like printed like things on them. They're so much fun. Anyway, let's move on. Necklace. This was the one from Potomac Beads, my little like rainforesty necklace. Let's put this one on with all of those daggers coming out. It's very lightweight. Like, even though I have really big beads on here, it's very light to wear. Probably because like all of the other beads are fairly light. I am not feeling any like oppressive pressing down or weight on my neck from this. It is a very lightweight necklace to wear. I am enjoying that. That is very nice. Good job, Becky. All right, and another nice lightweight necklace is going to be this dainty princess pink necklace that I made with the Gemstone Orphanage stuff. Oh boy, love this. It's just gonna make me happy. Yes, feels like something that someone on Bridgerton would wear. Maybe not to a ball, or maybe to a ball, I don't know. It's very pretty, very pretty. All right, and now let's get this guy on, my sparkly guy that I made with that crystal down at the end. And my friend Heather suggested that I do like maybe a little series or like a video showing different ways to work with like a pendant like this where you've got a side drilled hole like briolets or something, and maybe you don't do wire wrapping but you still want to be able to use it for a necklace. I just used some seed beads along the sides and then brought my beading wire together to make this little thing on the top of that. That's all I did, and it just works. It just works. So maybe we'll do a video like that. Maybe not while I'm in the middle of a challenge. And this is why I like a dangle on the end of my bracelets, so I can hang on to it with my finger, and then with my dexterous hand go ahead and hook that closed. And then I've got my little bracelet. I'm just going to turn these guys so they're facing the right way. Very pretty. And here's that earring, my lone earring. I could just wear one earring, right? That's a thing. I will figure out how to do that second hole. It was a clogged second hole. There's like some metal in there. I'm gonna get I have some little teeny drills. I'm just gonna very carefully drill out that hole because the bead reamer isn't doing it because it's metal. So I will get it fixed. I will absolutely do that and finish up that second necklace. It's just taken a little bit of extra work, that's all. All right, and let me grab these guys, these swingity earrings. And I actually, someone mentioned that it's too bad we didn't have another one of these fan pendants. You can get extra findings of the things in this box from the dollarbead.com, not Dollar Bead Club, dollarbead.com. That's the sister store for curated bead box. So I can get another fan pendant if I want to do a necklace, but I actually have an idea on how to make a necklace that will be wearable with this. And so I'll do a video of that either this week or next week. I don't know yet. It depends on what life throws at me, because life does tend to throw things at me sometimes. It happens. But that's okay. I am really happy with the pace that I kept up this week. You know how normally I'm like, I feel like I didn't make a lot, or I didn't do a lot, or I didn't do enough this week. I feel like I did enough. I met all of the goals that I had. I did the videos that I intended to. I'm just a little mad about that post office thing, but that's okay. It's totally okay, because it's not the end of the world. You know, I have a roof over my head. Everybody's bellies are full. I got to spend some time with my son instead of worrying about what I was making. It was fine. It was totally fine. And I am ready to have a really, really great week. We're going to have a great week. I don't have a lot planned this week, but we're still going to have a great week because as things come up or as I plan them, oh no, in fact, actually, I think tonight after work, I am going to sit down and open up my Softflex TGBE kit, the Arctic Circle kit, and do a design from that. It's really cool. TGBE is the Great Bead Extravaganza, and it is just kind of like a sort of like a beading conference or something between a lot of different small businesses, small bead businesses. That's what happened this weekend. They had a bunch of them. They come together, they do presentations, they have kits, they have specials, and it's a way for them to maybe get out there, and for people who might not be familiar with that bead shop, if they're familiar with one of the other ones in that that little group, they become more familiar with them. That's how one of the TGBEs, because Softflex was like my gateway to like so many different beady things, like Sounds Bead Box, Softflex, like all of these other, I found like a bunch of different bead shops through watching the TGBE presentations. And so it's really fun, but they also like, it's just a really good time. You know, I put on the little presentation, go do like housework and cook breakfast. I made brunch and clean the kitchen while I was watching some of the ones in the morning on Saturday. And they opened up the softbox kit Saturday afternoon. And it was so much fun. There's a little, just a teeny tiny embroidery hoop in there, and I'm excited to get this out and play around with it because I think it's going to be really fun. And maybe even do more with it with that. Yeah, so I'm not going to do a little embroidery as my design on the fly. I'll do a different kind of design on the fly. Maybe I'll do a bracelet. I haven't decided yet because I haven't, you know, really played around with what's in there. I do have 2 of the bead mixes that were sold alongside of it that I'm going to be, you know, organizing into my organizer and playing around with. But it's going to be fun. I am really excited about that. So that is what I'm going to do. After work, I'm going to open that up and we'll do some design on the fly, and I will have something today to share with you. What else is going on? Maybe I will pick up that package that the mailbox has and have something else to work with you on. But I also have my dollar bead box that I want to do a planned design with that for you. And then another design, maybe we'll do that this week, of the curated bead box, something to go with these earrings. So we'll have a necklace that will match the earrings and that can be worn with it. So those are 2 of the things that I have planned for that. And then otherwise, just anything that pops up or comes up or that I get the urge to really design with. Because sometimes I will be like, you know what, I really want to do this right now. And it'll be like some bead weaving thing. Or I'll have like these planned designs and they'll get put on hold because I'm like, I really need to figure out how to make these 2 whole beads work together. Intrusive beading thoughts. Do it that way. But you know what, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, I get a lot of joy out of creating. And that was one of the best refreshing things about the TGBE presentations was just hearing the thoughts of so many creators about, you know, their why and what they do. And Cynthia Thornton had mentioned during her presentation how, like, when she went to art school, they were all about, like, the suffering and stuff. And it's like, who wants to be the suffering artist when you could be a joyful artist? Why would you want to fill your art with angst when you could fill your art with joy and with happiness and bright colors and things like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. So, like, if you haven't heard, the suffering artist is out. The joyful artist is in, and that includes creating with joy, creating with intent. I have, you know, all of my multicolored sweater on. I have all of these beautiful beads to play with. I have sparkle in my life. I have joy, and I want to share my joy in creating with you. That's my why for why I make my videos, is just to share it. I absolutely love creating. I absolutely love the challenge. I love making things, and I love being able to share my joy. And, you know, like, even if I know some people might be like, well, if you're going through a hard time, why are you happy, or why are you doing that? And that's when you need to find joy the hardest. You know, it's like, if you are going through a rough time, you know, if you are having a huge transition in your life, finding those moments of joy, finding those fragments of friendships that you can hang on to, of something beautiful that you can admire. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why when I'm doing my tutorials, sometimes I'll stop. And you guys have seen me do this, where I stop and I look at it, I'm like, I love that so much. Because if you're not experiencing joy while you're creating, why do it? Why do it if you're not getting enjoyment out of it? If it doesn't make you happy, why do it? You know, let's do the things that bring us joy this year. There are things that don't bring you joy, like cleaning the bathroom. It's essential to do those, but let's also do the joyful things. Let's experience joy. Let's play with colorful paints. Let's put the sparkly beads on our things, and then let's wear them. and let's sparkle along with our beads. Come on, guys. Don't be afraid to sparkle. Everyone deserves to sparkle. You definitely do. Anyway, I had better get back to work. Wishing all of you the best, funnest, wonderful week, full of sparkle and love. And to any of my friends who are affected by the wildfires that are going on in Southern California right now, in the LA area, you have all of my love and support. And I am definitely, like, I keep contributing to GoFundMe's and things like that for that. But it's one of those things that, like, nobody is really prepared for that. And it is one of those transitions. And I hope that if you are affected by it, that you are able to find some joys that will carry you through. Because that's how you get through things like this, is find something to laugh about, find something to smile about. I mean, go through the emotions, because you got to go through it to get through it. But, you know, loss is something that you can deal with if you find little joys along the way, along the path. Anyway, I love all of you. Have a fantastic week. Happy beading.